cytoplasmic processes where great.
Right, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cytoplasmic processes. Alright?
It's all imaginative.
When you're an anatomist, you have very good eyes. You see what others can't see. Or powers of observation are good. But there you see one of the cytoplasmic processes bifurcating right here.
Oh, the one that goes like that? The one that goes like that?
So this is a beautiful, there's another process coming off right here. So this is a very nice Kupfer cell. Very good. So now my friend Courtney here tells me, I think I've seen in 1 or 2 books, but now I'm just thinking what he had said. In 1 or 2 books, I have seen that they have stained, it's just coming back, I think in Bale's histology I saw it, that where they have stained the liver with osmic acid and then cut it, and at light microscopic level, you can visualize the canaliculi. Well, that would make sense because what? Osmic acid binds. Wow, look at that. Another Kupfer cell with some cytoplasmic processes. Very good. So anyway, where are we? So you find now that what? The osmic acid binds with what? The cell membrane, with the plasma lemma. Okay? So the osmic, because the cell membrane is primarily the lipid layer in it, will bind. Now very interesting is to note, these are special cells. These perimeter cells here, these are special cells here. Okay, notice that. These are right at the periphery of the lobule. Okay, so these are now cells that are going to be exposed first. But there's a lovely portal triad here for you, and there should also be some autonomic nerves. This portal triad, there are autonomic nerves, vagal fibers coming in, etc., into the liver. Right, so it has an autonomic innervation. What's very interesting to see in the liver is that some of the cells are binucleate. Alright? There you can see a binucleate cell right here. 2 nuclei within the cell, and the nucleoli are very prominent. Now the beauty about the liver is that you can take off here about 80% of it or so, and it will regenerate quite quickly. Within a year or so, the liver. So these cells notice, and in an experiment that I was doing recently, I observed lots of mitotic figures. Okay? Lots of mitotic figures in the hepatocytes. So there's an area, so the liver now has the good ability to regenerate. Alright? So liver regeneration is a very prominent feature. Alright, that we should know about. So the portal triads here are very interesting. Alright, I think we can say so long to the liver and now move into the gallbladder. Alright? So I have a number of slides here of the gallbladder. And we recall that the gallbladder is pear-shaped, and part of it, a lot of it basically is covered by the visceral peritoneum. And therefore a good amount of the gallbladder has a serosa. Okay, so a good amount of the gallbladder has a serosa. And there is a part now that is applied to the fossa of the gallbladder, the fossa vesicopila. So the fossa of the gallbladder now, part of the gallbladder is applied to it, and therefore that part is devoid of a serosa. So this part here is beautiful. Alright? So there is a serosa lining of simple squamous epithelium. Okay? So this may be taken from that fundus of the gallbladder. Alright, so this is very nice right there. Very nice slide. Perfect. 300 marks. Alright, this is a beautiful slide, Courtney. And that's showing the visceral peritoneum. Okay? And this is the subserosal connective tissue right here, where we expect to find some of the blood vessels, etc. So this part of the gallbladder has a peritoneum. And there you can see some fat below it, okay, or deep to the peritoneum. But a part of the gallbladder now lacks the peritoneal lining and has an adventitium. And that's the part that's applied to the visceral surface of the liver. And sometimes remember also that the cystic artery is not considered as an end artery. Whereas the appendicular artery, the artery to the appendix, is an end artery. Very important that the gallbladder is also receiving part of its blood supply through its bed. So through the bed of the gallbladder, basically there is an arterial supply. So that cystic artery becomes blocked, for instance, there can be a blood supply, an effective blood supply coming through its bed. Also, interestingly, through its bed come what are referred to as the ducts of Histo. What do you know about the ducts of Histo? So these are aberrant bile ducts. Aberrant bile ducts that are coming directly from the liver and going through the wall of the gallbladder to empty into its lumen. Now, Eli, we're going to have a problem. And what is our general problem? Our general problem is that gallbladder and bile duct look very similar. Okay? So in the exam, we're going to have a problem. We're all nervous and all this, that, and the other, under a lot of pressure exam day, and we see this. And we say, my God, is this now gallbladder or is this bile duct? Okay. Alright, now the way to really sort that problem out is that, how do we sort that problem out? How do we sort that problem out? Money. How do we sort that problem out? How are we going to differentiate? Or let's ask Courtney. Courtney, how are we going to differentiate now in the exam bile duct from gallbladder? They're so similar in appearance. How do we differentiate them? Right? If we put gallbladder, they give us a mark. If we put bile duct, they give us 0. So how are we now going to differentiate the two? They look so much alike. Basically, the way we differentiate them is that in the bile duct, and this is analogous, the situation is analogous to when we do the urogenital system. We're going to see urinary bladder and ureter. How do we differentiate urinary bladder and ureter? How do we differentiate gallbladder and bile duct? Basically, the way we differentiate it is that in the bile duct and in the ureter, generally speaking, you can visualize a good amount of the lumen. Alright? Because you're cutting a duct. So when you cut through the duct, you can see a good amount of what? The lumen, the space within. Whereas in the gallbladder, all you're going to see what? Is a minute portion of that lumen. Like you're just on a bit of a seashore. Okay? And this is a long, long, long seashore going right now. Okay? Looking different, you're just looking at a small little there. So there you can see now, this is a long seashore going all the way down here. And therefore this is lumen, 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 lumen. Now what can we say about the gallbladder? That one, there is a mucosa. Okay? And this mucosa looks honeycomb in shape. Alright? Honeycomb in shape. Giving you the appearance of glands when there are no glands there. Okay? So it gives you the appearance that there are glands when there are really no real glands here. It is described that in the lamina propria, just at the neck of the gallbladder, we may encounter some mucus secreting glands. Okay? And also going into the bile duct. But generally speaking, the gallbladder is devoid of glands. What about the epithelium? Now the epithelium of the gallbladder, when we visualize the epithelium of the gallbladder, it's going to depend a lot on what happened to the animal when it died. Alright, if this animal was fixed immediately after death, then the picture is going to be good. And in this slide you can see the picture is relatively good. Alright, but if you don't wash out the bile quickly, then the bile will now start to degrade. What do we see in the gallbladder? That it's lined by what type of epithelium? Tall columnar cells. And what's the function of the